Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Dramatic video from Detroit's east side. Partygoers scatter as someone opens fire in broad daylight. People living nearby say this is happening too often. Ben.
Kim, severe thunderstorm warning just been posted for parts of Lapeer County as storms strengthen. We'll tell you who else is at risk.
Also, Rick Wershey, known to many as White Boy Rick, says he wants to be compensated for the years he lost behind bars and the danger he was exposed to as the youngest known drug informant in history. Off the top at 5, it's been exactly a year since Rick Wershey went free after more than 3 decades in correctional facilities.
Wershey says he lost things he can never get back, and he wants somebody to pay. Local 4 defender Sean Lay live with the federal lawsuit Wershey and his team filed today. And Sean, he calls what happened to him child abuse.
And he's seeking $100 million. Look at this suit. It's absolutely fascinating from the lens of 2021. If law enforcement placed a 14-year-old person in the most dangerous drug and gang environments, Rick Wershey tells me that's exactly what happened to him. He calls it child abuse, and he's suing.
That was him at 14. That's him when he got out.
Rick Wershey says as he sat in a prison cell for more than 30 years, he thought about the FBI and Detroit police using him as a high-level drug informant at the age of 14 was child abuse, plain and simple. That got him shot, almost got him killed, that led to his life sentence.
And I was too young and dumb to know that it would affect the rest of my life. Who in their right mind labels someone a 16 and 17-year-old a drug kingpin?
This morning, Wershey and his attorney filed a federal lawsuit against the former FBI agents, former Detroit police investigators that sent him into Detroit's most dangerous drug houses in the 1980s as a minor. He was the youngest FBI informant in history. Local 4 asking why filed now. He says suing from prison, exposing all that he was made to do, would not have been a wise idea.
We talked about bringing this action while I was in prison. They feared for my safety. They feared that I would be kept in prison forever.
And they know that they used unlawfully a child as an informant. They abused, reused this child over and over again. They didn't want that out.
The suit is bringing a lot of that to light. 2 U.S. attorneys and a third also named in this suit for their dealings with Rick Wershey. The FBI, we called them, we talked to them, we talked to DPD and the city if they had any comment. Right now they don't. The city says they just got the lawsuit. And the question is, what about the statute of limitations? Wershey's attorney explains it to me this way. If something is so outrageous, he says, like this, and needs to be exposed, right now federal judges are now allowing those cases to be heard. We're live tonight. Sean Lay, Local 4, back to you guys.
Exactly right. All right, Sean. Well, after a calmer start to the week, we once again have to talk about some rain.
That's right, and the potential for storms, right, Ben?
Yeah, they're already out there, guys. In fact, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning right now for that eastern half of Lapeer County. That's until 6 p.m. This line is really starting to become more linear here in the last 30 minutes, and you can see there's definitely some heavy rain in there, but we're most concerned about the potential for 60-mile-an-hour wind gust within that storm. It's moving off to the southeast at about 30 miles an hour, so North Branch, you'll see that here in minutes. Imlay City, if it's still together, at about 5:30 on the extreme western edge of that. Otherwise, there's a little bit more activity back there to the west. You can see there is some hail being tracked right there in the northern section of the county as that warning got posted. So we'll continue to keep on top of that. But it does look like thunderstorm chances are going to be with us probably at least until the early part of the evening hours tonight. So we'll talk more about that and where we go from here in just a few minutes.
All right, Ben, now to a shooting incident on Detroit's east side that sent some people running for cover.
Yeah, this video captures the crowd's mixed reaction as someone opened fire, apparently targeting someone but not hitting anyone. Happened near the intersection of Eastburn and Rex. That's just south of 8 Mile between Hayes and Kelly.
Victor Williams reports on the investigation and what neighbors say may have led to this frightening incident.
Gunshots blasting in broad daylight. That's exactly what happened near this intersection. Some of the neighbors who are living around here, they're saying that at this point, they've had enough.
I heard somebody say gun. Then the whole crowd started running this way.
Cell phone video shows the moments a fight at a large gathering turned into a dangerous shooting near the intersection of Rex and Eastburn just days ago. Notice the man in the yellow shirt with a gun in each hand blindly blasting away into the crowd.
Then I heard 1, 2, 3 shots.
This man, wishing not to be named, says he saw the buildup leading to the shooting all from his front yard. He says instead of moving away from the commotion, a lot of the crowd followed the chaos instead of heading the opposite direction.
There had to be at least 30 to 40 individuals out here. And I've seen 2 people with guns.
Shell casings can still be found on the ground. Apparently, this was the result of an altercation between several younger girls who did not live in the area. After shots are fired, some of the crowd scatters, but many of the onlookers not even fazed by all the bullets passing by. The sad part is that the area is filled with kids. Any of them could have easily been hit by a stray bullet, just like a few of the homes nearby.
Good thing nobody ain't get hurt, and it didn't go through no wall and hit no baby or kid or anybody.
Other residents like Mike Mitchell are praying for a change in the violence before it's too late.
And I hope like something will start changing around, man. We got to stick together.
And this is one of the shell casings that we found right out there on the scene. Once again, big miracle in itself that no one was hurt here. Victor Williams, Local 4.
Exactly right. All right, Victor.
Okay, now to the latest coronavirus numbers. The state reports 1,028 new cases and 14 deaths over the past 4 days. That's an average of 257 cases per day. Meanwhile, top U.S. health officials face tough questions on Capitol Hill today amid mounting concerns about the spread of COVID. And there's conflicting guidance over whether masks are needed in schools. Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Good evening. As the Delta variant fuels an alarming increase in COVID cases across the country, several largely unvaccinated southern states could be headed for a 4th wave, and hospitals are bracing for numbers not seen in months.
Delta is dominant. The highly contagious strain of COVID-19 now makes up more than 80% of known cases in the U.S., according to top health officials testifying today on Capitol Hill. Dr. Anthony Fauci stressing the vaccines available in the U.S. are still more than 90% effective against the new variant.
We have the tools to end this epidemic. It is up to us to utilize those tools to their maximum.
The vaccination rate has plummeted in recent weeks, just as the Delta variant is driving a surge in cases, hospitalizations, and deaths, especially in southern states where much of the population is unvaccinated. Nationwide, COVID deaths are up 48% this week over last.
Each death is tragic and even more heartbreaking when we know that the majority of these deaths could be prevented with a simple, safe, available vaccine.
While stopping short of suggesting a mandate, the head of the CDC saying masks will play a critical role in preventing the spread of COVID when schools reopen this fall. The American Academy of Pediatrics, which is urging everyone in schools to mask up, says children now make up nearly 16% of COVID cases, with more than 23,000 pediatric cases just last week.
It worries me because, you see more and more children getting infected.
Meanwhile, a lingering concern for everyone who's already been vaccinated as studies seek to determine how long the protection lasts and whether booster shots will be needed.
We learned today a White House staffer and a senior aide to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi both tested positive for the virus after being fully vaccinated. Both have just minor symptoms, which medical experts say shows that the vaccines are still working. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
Okay, Alice, ahead we'll hear from a local infectious disease expert who's also a father, and you'll want to hear his reaction to the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendation on everyone wearing masks in schools.
Detroit City Council has voted in favor of a reparations commitment.
It's a first step toward what advocates see as applying a racial equity framework for Detroit's black community. For the latest, we turn to Local 4's Larry Spruill live outside City Hall tonight with more. Larry.
Good evening, Kimberly and Devin. This proposal was presented by Councilwoman Mary Sheffield earlier today. Now, it's 3 pages long, but very detailed. It outlines the proposal itself, who will benefit from it and how. Take a listen.
Member Ayers moved the resolution. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the resolution is approved.
Approved in just minutes from Detroit City Council on Tuesday, Council President Pro Tem Mary Sheffield presented a 3-page reparations proposal addressing the unfair treatment of black people across our country, especially here in Detroit. The document states black people have been consistently and wildly impoverished by discriminatory wages paid in every sector of the economy, regardless of credentials and experience based on property, income, and wealth advantage. Now City Council is trying to right that wrong. They're following other cities who passed a similar bill, like Asheville, North Carolina, Evanston, Illinois, St. Paul, Minnesota, and Durham, North Carolina. The bill also states the Detroit City Council demands a strong and sufficient United States federal government program funding commitment to reparations, funding programs that should be administered at the local level. We're talking about right to water and sanitation, right to environmental health, right to live free from discrimination, right to recreation, right to access and mobility, and right to housing, just to name a few. And so here are the next steps. This proposal will now be presented in front of the Elections Commission. If they decide to vote on it and make sure that all the requirements are met, legal requirements are met, then it'll be placed on the ballot in November. We are live outside City Hall tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
Okay, Larry, thanks.
More to come here. Still ahead, the Detroit Police Department taking a new approach to mental health crisis cases. At 5:30, we'll hear from Interim Chief James White on what it'll look like and what it would mean for the community.
And the new crackdown on speeders on one local freeway will show you where state troopers are out in force today and some of the outrageous speeds they're recording.
Final auditions